Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely epic story of ambition, logistics, and military genius. We're looking at Northern Thunder, Rajendra Chola's conquest of the Ganges. We're going to explore the journey of Rajendra Chola I. This is a ruler who, back in 1014 CE, inherited South Asia's most powerful empire right after the death of his father, Rajaraja the Great. But as you'll quickly see, simply inheriting a massive empire, that just wasn't enough for him. It's actually a fascinating contrast between these two generations of power. On one side, you've got the father, Rajaraja the Great, who had already established unparalleled dominance down in the south. Now, for most successors, just maintaining that kind of monumental legacy would be a lifetime achievement, right? But then on the other side, we have the son, Rajendra Chola I, had this burning ambition and an absolute refusal to just rest on his father's laurels. He wanted to push boundaries and honestly conquer entirely new horizons. Which really begs the ultimate question: how do you eclipse a legend? I mean, how do you step out of the shadow of a legendary predecessor who has already conquered practically everything around you? Keep in mind, Rajendra had actually co-ruled with his father for years. He was totally battle-tested. He'd commanded armies in Sri Lanka and the Deccan, so he definitely knew how to lead. But to make a statement that would truly outshine his father, he was going to have to do something that had literally never been done before. Section 1. The Successor's Grand Ambition, Aiming for the Sacred River.
Section 2. March to the Ganges, a logistics marvel.
So, to achieve this grand ambition, Rajendra came up with a seriously audacious plan. He decided to strike far beyond his home region of Tamilakam, aiming for the absolute ultimate symbol of Indian kingship, the sacred Ganges River. Launched in 1022 CE, you have to understand, this wasn't just a quick border raid or some minor territorial dispute. No, this was a highly coordinated overland campaign that required moving what was essentially a small city's worth of soldiers over 1,000 miles northward. And they weren't exactly taking a scenic stroll through friendly countryside. They were pushing deep into completely hostile territory. Trying to maintain supply lines, morale, and sheer physical endurance over 1,000 miles in the 11th century, it's a staggering logistical marvel. The route they took was just grueling. Starting out from the southern stronghold of Tanjavur, they pushed aggressively up through Kalinga in modern-day Odisha. From there, they had to somehow navigate crossing the swollen Mahanadi River. And remember, they're doing this with incredibly heavy equipment and huge animals. Finally, they struck directly into Bengal. This was a brutally arduous path taken by tens of thousands of infantry, cavalry, and massive war elephants, all operating brilliantly under the command of Rajendra's top general, Arayan Rajarajan. As for the local rulers and their path, well, they weren't exactly given much room for negotiation. They were handed a stark and brutal choice, the Chola ultimatum. Pledge absolute allegiance and grant immediate safe passage, or face the earth-shattering power of the Chola war elephants. As you can probably guess, a whole lot of them wisely chose to just step aside. Section 3. Crushing the Pala Dynasty, the clash at the Ganges. But eventually, this unstoppable southern war machine met an immovable northern defender in Bengal, setting the stage for a monumental clash. These two absolute titans were finally squaring off. On one hand, you have the Chola vanguard. These are battle-hardened southern invaders, and they are incredibly hungry for victory after marching 1,000 miles. And on the other hand, you've got King Mahipala I, the powerful defender of the Pala Dynasty, which was one of northern India's dominant Buddhist empires. Mahipala was absolutely not about to surrender. He deliberately deployed his defensive forces right along the banks of the Ganges to halt the Chola invasion dead in its tracks. The violence of this encounter was just incredibly fierce. But ultimately, the Chola heavy infantry proved to be way too much. They completely broke the Pala lines right there on the muddy banks of the Ganges River. The Chola war machine shattered the defense, forcing King Mahipala to retreat. And with that definitive victory, Rajendra effectively took control of the secret river. He had actually pulled off his impossible goal. Now, this is where the story takes a fascinating and frankly kind of petty turn. Rather than trying to annex land 1,000 miles from home, which, let's be honest, would have been an absolute logistical nightmare to govern and defend, Rajendra demanded a humiliating, highly symbolic tribute. The defeated northern kings were literally forced to carry heavy pots of sacred Ganges water on their own heads, marching it all the way back down south to the Chola heartland. Talk about an ultimate display of absolute supremacy. Section 4. A new imperial capital, the liquid pillar of victory. So, with the sacred water secured, Rajendra set out to transform this massive military victory into a permanent architectural legacy. To immortalize this unbelievable feat, he actually took on a brand new title. He became Gangaikonda Chola, which translates directly to the Chola who took the Ganges. It perfectly captures the sheer audacity of his northern conquest. He didn't just visit the river, he took it, and he wanted everyone in history to know it for sure. Following that, he founded a brand new imperial capital in the Kaveri Delta, naturally named Gangaikonda Cholapuram. It was designed specifically to rival his father's great capital, featuring a magnificent temple that closely mirrored the grand one in Tanjavur. But the true centerpiece of this new city, that was the Cholagangam, a massive artificial lake. And here's the kicker, he took those plundered sacred waters of the Ganges and poured them directly into the Cholagangam reservoir. In doing so, he created a symbolic liquid pillar of victory. By doing this, Rajendra permanently united the sacred north with his sprawling southern empire, right there in his own backyard. It's just a brilliant piece of political theater.
Section 5. Preparing the Ocean Armada, the next frontier.
But ambition rarely rests. Rajendra had conquered the northern edge of the land, but across the Bay of Bengal, a distant sea power was starting to threaten vital Chola trade with imperial China. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to wrap up on. The tiger has mastered the land, so what happens when it takes to the sea? If Rajendra could project absolute power 1,000 miles overland through mountains and rivers, what magnitude of destruction awaits the mighty Srivijaya Empire of Indonesia when he unleashes a massive transoceanic strike? When the Chola tiger takes to the water, it launches the world's greatest naval invasion. But we're gonna have to explore that ocean armada next time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.